So how do you keep going without burning out? Well, let's add some music for the mood. No, not that. Let's go a little more viral YouTube speech. Okay, perfect. That's the one. As the song goes, the best things in life are free. Well, what a nice thought that is. But then they followed that line with, but you can keep them for the birds and bees, I need money. Basically, well, sort of undoing the sentiment there in that first part. But that pretty much sums it all up though, wouldn't you say? The hippies emerged from the mud at Woodstock, collected themselves after one hell of a party, then became investment bankers to feed the beast. Because without money, no one can party for too long. C'est la vie. Many of us have a love-hate relationship with money, and society tells us that we should only have a love, more love, most love relationship with money. Yay, unfettered capitalism! And yet 77% of US workers, according to one study, have felt burnt out recently, and this figure doesn't even include COVID or the people who voluntarily put more work on their plate, for example, entrepreneurs, artists, or just volunteers. Maybe you consider yourself one of those. So how do you motivate yourself to make or to do something every day with little to no reward? Well, I'll simplify the question. Why do anything at all? Why put in any more effort than the absolute bare minimum required to maintain your life? And it's a valid question. As somebody much wiser than me once said, you don't need $1 million to do nothing, man. Just take a look at my cousin. He's broke, don't do shit. Many of the world's all-time great philosophers were broke. Socrates famously embraced poverty and refused to take money for much of what he did his whole life. So if you made a conscious stand to exit the rat race, to forsake money, and to eliminate all the busy work that goes along with striving towards greater impact or financial success, you would be in good historical company. I don't imagine Buddha made too much money sitting under a tree finding enlightenment all day, do you? One could easily argue that posting on social media all day, that building a new product, that creating a new book or a new screenplay or a new work of art is really just distracting you from living in the moment, from truly enjoying all that life has to offer. And perhaps the purpose of life is simply to enjoy it. So many of life's most wonderful things are free or cheap if you're in good health. But aside from this basic need for money, this thing that we all have, what if you have a regular job? What if you're doing okay? Should you strive for more than okay? Should you bother putting in the effort to get to the next level? Or should you just stay where you are? Or maybe you done been striving and you're not seeing the results. Why not give up, go back to a life of relative ease and avoid all that stress? Well, I can tell you these thoughts have crossed my mind repeatedly as I remind myself that where I'm heading, to be a cherished, humorist, writer, speaker, and thought leader might take 10 years or more, and quite truthfully, it might never happen, whatever it is. Even following all the right steps, success is by no means guaranteed in any endeavor. The odds of being anything special are overwhelmingly against us in a world of 8 billion people. And yet, maybe you feel deep down that you have something unique that you can't quite articulate. Maybe you feel you were meant for something more against all logic and reason. Maybe you believe in yourself more than your family does or your closest friends do, and maybe there's a tension between your valuation of yourself and the lower valuation society seems to have placed upon you. So why go on? Well, it's hard not to get burned out waking up each day feeling like you're falling short of your goals, that you don't matter. Well, I want to reframe this for you today. I've got news for you guys. By all accounts, being famous sucks. Just read Jim Carrey's new book, Memoirs and Misinformation, which I covered in another video on my YouTube channel. Many of the world's most cherished celebrities have killed themselves, morbid thought, and we hear more and more stories of doxing, where someone reveals your personal information online, or swatting, where someone calls the police pretending to be you committing a crime in your own house, and people have died this way. Often people are targeted for their wealth. Hell, Lady Gaga's dog walker was just shot. What a world! There are very real potential consequences of being rich and famous that suck. Look at what happened to Dave Chappelle over his career, or Britney Spears. And also, fame is a fickle mistress. How many actors were once on the top of their game and now they can't find any work anymore? How many times have you wished Kathy Griffin would stop making specials? Someday, people who once loved you could easily turn on you just as quickly. Marcus Aurelius said, Quote, people who are excited by posthumous fame forget that the people who remember them will soon die too, and those after them in turn, until their memory passed from one to another like a candle flame gutters and goes out, unquote. So fame is fleeting and a terrible goal, and possibly something that we should actively be avoiding, if anything. And we should listen to famous people when they tell us that their happiness does not come from their success, but rather the other way around. Just like Richard Branson, who said of happiness, quote, it's holding my new grandchildren's tiny hands. It's looking up at the stars and dreaming of seeing them up close one day. It's listening to my family's dinnertime debates. It's the smile on a stranger's face, the smell of rain, the ripple of a wave, the wind across the sand. It's the first snowfall of winter and the last storm of summer, unquote. In addition to a to-do list, he argues that we should cultivate a to-be list. But yet, am I advocating that you do nothing if you feel compelled for whatever reason to go that extra mile? Conan O'Brien said that fame is just a consequence of making stuff and liking to make stuff. And with this, I wholeheartedly agree. The real question is, what kind of person are you? How about instead of focusing on what you've gotten, what you get, or what you might not get, why not focus on who you are? What if you don't create because you want the approval of random strangers or to be famous, but rather you create because you are a creator? Full stop. What if you write jokes because you have a sense of humor, or because you like to laugh? What if you make music because you're a musician? You speak because you're a speaker. You write because you are a writer. You cook because you're a chef, or you build because you're a builder. This reframes our lives in a different way that's less focused on the results. Creative people create, or as Steve Jobs said somewhat crassly, real artists ship, but I'm not gonna dive too deeply into that particular one. Now, if we can focus on being the best version of ourselves instead of focusing on what we get out of life, we just might burn out more slowly. We just might get more done. We can choose to focus on our own mastery, nothing else. So ask yourself, are you the type of person for whom comfort is the main goal? If so, relax. Take it easy. No one is telling you to do otherwise. Enjoy the shit out of that relaxation. Have fun. It's your life. Or are you the type of person who wants to see what they're capable of, who enjoys learning, building, and getting better? Neither is right or wrong, but whatever choice you make, it should originate from within you and not from the outside world. If we can see each creation as a celebration of what we're capable of and not a chore to be done, then we will all be on the right path. Oh, and it's hard to create when you're hungover, so take care of your physical body too.